The day my brother tried to steal from me was the day I decided I no longer had a family. I still remember the exact moment those words settled into my heart. They weren't just a passing thought or a fleeting emotion, they were the truth, as hard as it was to accept. For years, I tried to convince myself that I had a family who cared about me, that the chaos, manipulation, and guilt trips were just a phase. But when my brother Jason tried to steal from me, I realized that my family wasn't a safe haven. It was a trap. Growing up, it wasn't obvious that Jason was going to be the problem child. We were close in age, both a little over a year apart, and while we didn't always get along, I thought that was just part of being siblings. Jason was always charming, always the one who could talk his way out of anything. He was the type to smooth talk his way through life, getting by on charisma alone, while I was the hard worker, the serious one. My parents never saw it that way, though. From a young age, Jason was their golden boy, the one they had high hopes for, the one they believed could do no wrong. And me? I was the responsible one, the one who always had to make up for Jason's mistakes. But it didn't start out too bad. I remember when I graduated from college, feeling proud of the work I'd put into getting my degree. Jason didn't even finish college, and that was fine by my parents. They never once asked him why he didn't stick with it. Instead, they blamed me if I ever mentioned it, saying, "Why can't you be more supportive of Jason? He's just figuring things out." I wasn't allowed to have an opinion on Jason's actions. I was only allowed to help fix them. As time went on, Jason's irresponsibility caught up with him. He was always trying new ventures, some business idea, some get rich quick scheme, or a small investment that turned into a huge disaster. He'd always come back to my parents, head hung low, begging for a bailout. And guess who they asked to help? Me. At first, I didn't mind. I had a stable job, some savings, and I genuinely wanted to help him. But slowly, I began to notice a pattern. Every time Jason messed up, I was the one they turned to. They didn't ask me for advice or a solution. They demanded money, time, and energy. It was as though I was the only one in the family who could afford to fix things. And the worst part? No one ever apologized for the constant strain they put on me. They just expected more. It was one thing after another: loans for failed business ideas, debt for gambling, and even a few criminal charges that somehow never seemed to stick. Each time I helped, because I thought I had to, because I thought it was what family did. But deep down, I started to feel the weight of it. I watched my savings shrink, watched my dreams get pushed aside, while Jason continued his downward spiral. Then came the $40,000. It was the final straw, but it didn't hit me immediately. At first, I thought it was just another one of Jason's little problems that he'd be able to fix. He had a plan, of course. This time, he said, he was working with a financial advisor, someone who could help him pay down his debts responsibly. But a few weeks after that, I received a call from my parents. It was early in the morning, and I was already in a rush to get to work. "Jason's in trouble," my mom said without any greeting. "He needs $40,000 to pay off his debts. If you don't help him, he'll lose everything: his house, his car, his credit." "Mom, I don't have $40,000 just lying around," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "You know I've been saving for my own future. I can't just give him that kind of money." "Don't be so selfish," she replied. "You're doing well for yourself. He's your brother. Don't you want to help him out? You have more than enough." It was the same tired argument I'd heard for years, the same guilt tripping that always seemed to work on me. But this time I couldn't do it. I knew that if I bailed him out again, nothing would change. Jason wouldn't learn, my parents wouldn't stop enabling him, and I'd continue to drown in this cycle of manipulation. "I'm sorry, Mom. I can't," I said, before hanging up before she could say anything else. The call felt like a weight being lifted, but it didn't last. The very next day, my bank called me, telling me that someone had tried to access my account using incorrect information multiple times. Panic hit me like a punch to the gut. I knew immediately what had happened. Jason. When I confronted him about it, he didn't even seem to care. "I needed the money," he said simply. "You've got enough. What's the big deal?" The audacity. The nerve. It was one thing for him to ask for help, but now he was straight up trying to steal from me. And my parents? They defended him. You've always been so tight with your money, my dad grumbled. Jason needs your help. Family supports each other. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't family. This was manipulation. This was entitlement. Jason didn't need help. He needed to learn responsibility. The day my brother tried to steal from me was the day I decided I no longer had a family.